we just had a midterm election, and election integrity becomes a big issue, as it often does in the midterms, and we saw the debacle that happened in Florida. What is Judicial Watch doing about that right now?
Well, you know, it's funny. Judicial Watch was in Florida 18 years ago, in the year 2000, Bush versus Gore, trying to figure out what was going on as well. And Broward County and Palm Beach County were the center of the storm there. We saw evidence of fraud back then. And sure enough, Broward's back in the news again. Now, it looks like the fraud in this case wasn't enough to affect the outcome of an election, but you know, maybe there were lower elections that were not, lower tier elections that we're not thinking about that were affected. I don't know. But Judicial Watch is on the ground in Broward trying to figure out what's going on. And we're not, now that Senator Scott, well, the incoming Senator Scott is one, the Republicans will go back and forget about it all. Judicial Watch doesn't forget about these issues. We continue to pursue election integrity issues and investigations. So we'll be investigating what went on in Florida to try to get some accountability to make sure that the next time things come around, elections are freer and fairer and cleaner. But we've highlighted the fact that the rolls need to be clean. They weren't clean in Broward. Broward County had too many people on the rolls, relatively speaking, who shouldn't be there, meaning they had been dead or moved away or otherwise, because the numbers showed they hadn't done reasonable cleanup efforts. So when you got dirty rolls, you can have suspicious outcomes, as what happened here. So we have this big case against California over its dirty rolls. We were successful in Ohio in cleaning up its rolls, and in Indiana. But people should know, and because the left is very much interested in this issue, because they don't like election integrity rules, because they want to be able to steal elections if necessary. They want to be able to find the votes anywhere they can, by hook or by crook. Mm-hmm. That's why they don't like voter ID. That's why they don't like citizenship verification. That's why they don't like efforts like Judicial Watch has undertaken to require states to follow the law and clean up the rolls. So they want to be able to steal elections if necessary. So we need voter ID, we need citizenship verification, we need clean election rolls, and we need to look at other reforms that make sure that the elections are being run in a way that people can have confidence that the outcome is accurate as opposed to stolen.
So we're down there in Florida, and Arizona obviously had its own problems. Was there any evidence, like hard evidence, that crimes have been committed that we can do anything about?
Well, in Broward County, they didn't publish the numbers as was required under the Florida law and Florida Constitution. So that's evidence of some type of corruption. In Arizona, it was interesting. We had uncovered in Maricopa County, which is a big county in Arizona. I think it's the county surrounding Phoenix, that about, I think it was 1,700, I don't have the number in front of me here, but 1,700 or so aliens had tried to register to vote. Now, it's not clear whether their registrations went through or whether they actually voted, but it shows you of the 140 or so thousand people who registered in Maricopa County, new voters, in January through September of 2018, this year, about 1% of them were aliens trying to register to vote. Now, the left would have you believe aliens aren't registering to vote and they're not voting. Well, these numbers suggest, at least in the least, that they're trying to register to vote, which is contrary to law.
So, with the whole thing that happened in Florida, Brenda Snipes obviously resigned from Broward County recently. Do you think there's any legal action that can be taken after, just so someone's held accountable? And it kind of seems like she's at the center of the storm in Florida here. I don't want to speculate, but...
Well, I mean, you raise a good point. That's why Judicial Watch is going to do its independent investigations. I hope Florida state authorities come in and do an audit, to put it charitably, what went on. And to the degree the federal government has jurisdiction here in terms of voter suppression or voters illegally voting or something like that, the feds should look into it as well.